Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, Day 40 has come and gone, making this already dangerous world an even more dangerous place. Will the Raiders survive? Maybe, maybe not. I'll go ahead and hedge my bets and say that some will and others won't. You know, the fun is finding out which is which. And on that ominous note, a big Raider welcome to our newest hire, Mark Giemza, that swift boyer we glimpsed last time around, who I've got to say I'm definitely feeling pretty good about. I mean, obviously his stats could be better, but you know, it's more or less what I was expecting from a second-tier range bro. Better than a common laborer, but not quite as good as a proper hunter. But with 8 stars in all the right places, I feel like there's some serious potential there. Especially if I stick to my guns and go, go for a handgun. Methinks Mark here has a bright future as an overwhelming, fearsome handgunner. Assuming, of course, that we can actually keep him alive long enough to actually get there. That said, let's get back to it. We've got freshly rated trade routes and a 2-skull contract. Feels pretty straightforward. It'll be nice to fight some common bandits again after all the recent undead. Eagle the councilman is staring into a basket when you find him. A few peasants are off in the corner, scratching themselves and looking rather tense. You ask what's going on. Your potential employer brings you over to the basket, and inside you find a snake slithering about. It's a docile one, and the colors aren't arranged in a manner to suggest it carries poison in its belly. You tell him as much. He shrugs and closes the lid. You're gonna kill it and eat it anyhow. Take its skin for a dagger sheath. What I need you to do is go find a much larger snake than this. I'm talking lindworms, sellsword. Big uns. Roaming about, eating folk in the hinterlands. You're the kind to see this situation sorted. With a 2-skull contract. You know, I know we're past day 40, but I wasn't expecting things to scale up quite that quickly. $1,800 gold. I would like to see the lindworm potion. We're not too far from a couple of fortified towns. We could cheese the heck out of this. You know what? Yeah. Let me just get a quick gander here. Thunberg, fortified town to the north. Headed due southeast, so probably Hikma. Though, if we stumble across any enemy encampments... What's that? 2. And they are not following us. Caravan incoming. Lightly guarded, not much help, but can we... Oh, no. They're actively avoiding us. Okay, well, I mean, we could herd them into something, but... You know what? Let's just do it. Dust clouds belch from a distant cave entrance. As you draw near, you can hear the hiss of the lindworms, and the intermittent growling of something else entirely. Look, sir. Drakiith points to the rim of the cave dugout. There's a pair of Noxera there, tackling a lindworm. One being slung around as it holds onto the tail. The other is hand-fighting its maw to not get bit. The monsters are fighting one another. Shaking your head, you draw out your sword and order the men into formation. Looks like this is going to be a proper barnstormer if there ever was one. Oh good, more monsters. This is sure to go well. A plethora of Noxera. The raiders approach cautiously, heads low, weapons gripped so tightly their fingers hurt. Despite their best efforts, a small detachment of Noxerer split off from the rest, drawn by the promising scent of easier prey. Bowman acts almost without thinking. Arrow strung, then fired, sinking into the shoulder of an approaching beast. The rest of the raiders quickly ready themselves, set to quietly dispatch this small detachment. Hopefully without drawing too much attention. Already down 2, I see. Lindworms are double wide, so that implies 19 Noxerer. 16 once we kill these 3. That's still not really going to slow them down much, but hopefully they'll at least buy us some time. The raiders stand frozen until Rook takes lead. A thrust of his pike, piercing the chest of the lead Noxerer. The rest of the raiders begin to rally around him. Eyes set, not on the Noxerer, but on the small rise they've occupied. Perhaps a good perch to spy the Lindworms from? McLouge moves up, cutting down the impaled Noxerer. Random stepping up to his side, ready to ward the others away from its corpse. Verlin sets his spear, anticipating the same. Battle rages on in the background. Bowman steps up. But a shot goes wide, his attention distracted by the colossal silhouettes occasionally glimpsed on the horizon. A lash from Trip, and then another. He guts an Noxerer, and then lops off its ear as it ducks to the ground. Val catches it with a hurled stone, and it topples. Rev swiftly dispatching the last. Rook clambers up onto the nearby rise, gazing into the distance, but unable to make out exactly what's going on. The raiders push up, shields linked, wall set. Suddenly, a beast bursts into view on the northwest. A massive, colossal, snake-like lindworm. Savagely battling smaller, more indistinct figures. The creature seems undeterred, confident even. Another flurry of motion as yet more Noxerer press in from all sides. A flurry of motions on the north and east as well. The raiders have walked right into the middle of a kicked-up mare's nest. The battle rages to either side. The Lindworm's divided, so perhaps more easily felled? Rook gestures to the one already in view, and the raiders begin their painfully cautious advance. Careful to give the Noxerer a wide berth, so as not to distract them from their current prey. But just in case they do, they keep shields up front. Also need to remember who actually has Nimble at this point. $13 Noxerer left. $11. As the raiders draw closer, they catch a glimpse of the full, hulking Lindworm's form. Bowman fires a tentative shot. Arrow glancing from a thick, scaled scalp. A hurled stone catches it in the eye, the beast rearing back. But it seems to attribute the assault to the creatures, the things crawling all over its emerald hide. The fiendish feud continues. The raiders continue peppering the beast from afar. Another strike to the eye. The beast roars again, but still seems oblivious to the source of these new strikes. Instead, remaining fixated on the flesh-eating fiends flooding over its form. The Noxerer seize upon the opportunity, continuing to gnaw at the distracted dragon, teeth bubbling acridly as acid meets bone, and yet still undeterred in their insatiable quest. We want to be set up to receive this thing as soon as the Noxerer drop, probably on this one raised tile. So Verlin on point. A sweep of its massive tail. A man-sized Noxerer is sent tumbling across the terrain. Another smaller Noxerer is crushed to paste neath the beast's bulk. To the east, another smaller Noxerer scampers to where the raiders had just been, greedily feasting upon the fallen they left in their wake. So 8 left. 4 in sight, 1 running. Lindworm 1, dead ahead. Lindworm 2, off right. Annie and Trip warily reinforce Valin's perch. Another unerringly hurled stone clatters across the Lindworm's eye, keeping it blind to the raider's approach. But perhaps more notably, buying the Noxerer a bit more time. Time to claw at those increasingly scarred scales. Or perhaps to just consume the carrion left scattered across the field, to grow ever larger in size until they are so massive that they pose a true threat to the worm they wish to wrangle. Another sweep of the dragon's club-like tail. A Noxerer yelps, its arm folding over in half. Milky Eyes frantic as it seeks escape, or perhaps simply sustenance. And to the east, the Noxerer leaves without feasting upon the fallen. Interesting. A clatter of arrows and stones. The first Lindworm remains hopelessly distracted. Its scales in tatters, its flesh scarred and seeping acidic sludge. Rook finally steps up, taking a tentative jab. The tip of his pike piercing its writhing form. McLeod moves up as well, shield ready. The largest of the Noxera grips the beast by the jowls, keeping its mouth prized open, tearing at its throat and tongue, grasping for its eyes. The beast does seem to be on the ropes. The real trick will be interposing just in time to claim the kill. Oh. The club-like tail lashes, glancing against Rook hard enough to tear his tunic asunder, before flopping to the other side and crushing the one-armed Noxera into the ground. The raiders reflexively back off, giving it a bit more space, perhaps, to continue its feud with the one remaining fiend. Rev takes a jab, then recedes. Bowman continues raining arrow after arrow. Valen does likewise with stones. And to the east, the second Lindworm finally emerges, prompting the raiders to swiftly renew their assault. Hey, Mark, nice. And one by one, the raiders engage, still giving the one remaining Noxera a wide berth, but swiftly surrounding the first of the thrashing serpents, even as they try to keep it focused on the much more monstrous threat. Verlin is the first to land a hit up close. Acidic sludge splattering over his armor, eating caustically at the chain. A thrash of the besieged beast's tail. Trip is sent reeling, head bloodied, leg badly bruised. The Noxera is sent reeling as well, and the rest of the raiders rush in, eager to finish off this first threat before a new one arrives. Bowman grabs for a second quiver before shouting, "Fall back!" Valen nods, swiftly following suit, as Mark struggles with his crossbow. Lash after lash tears into the first of the Lindworms. And finally, oh, for goodness sake. No. Oh, gosh. A snap of its jaws narrowly misses Annie, but a twist of its body sends its massive bulk crashing into the raiders behind. A snap of bones, shouts of pain, and Tommy finally lands the telling blow, its body giving one last twisting, writhing flail. The one remaining Noxera greedily grabs great fistfuls of its caustic but freshly tenderized flesh, shoveling it into its mouth like a creature possessed. A jab of Revenant's pike sends it stumbling haphazardly away from the fallen corpse. The rest of the raiders quickly picking up on his intent. Cetrus rushes forward despite his injury, crashing into it with his shield, driving it ever further from the fallen Lindworm as well as the raiders wounded. McLeod circles wide, positioning himself for a similar ploy. Verlin glances to one side, eye widening visibly through his mask, shield raised. Mark pops off a quick shot. The bolt glancing from the second Lindworm's furious brow before he turns and leaps off the rise. Random, one arm hanging limp, rushes for another rise on the north. Trip following close behind. Rook moves back, frantically gesturing with a banner for the rest of the raiders to follow. Which they do, though Bowman pops off one last shot. And that seems to do the trick. The Lindworm is discouraged by the hail of painful projectiles, turning its attention towards potentially easier prey, that of the massive Noxerer. Its back turned, oblivious to the draconic doom descending upon it. Trip stumbles further away, shucking acid-burned chain in his wake. Cetrus falls back as well. Rook swiftly separating the injured from the able-bodied, as Verlin drives the last of the Noxerer the rest of the way into the Lindworm's clutches. Mark stumbles off to one side, too exhausted to recock his crossbow. Random reluctantly falls back, his fractured elbow too injured to work his flail. Rook steps up, his voice loud, roaring, but indistinct, as he gestures towards the second Lindworm with a banner. The nuance of the order is lost, but the general intent understood, as the raiders once again ready a cautious advance. Though perhaps after a brief pause to allow these things to further tear each other apart. McLeish takes the high ground, immediately stumbling as the beast's massive jaws clash against his raised shield. The Noxerer likewise reels, stunned as half its face is stove in by a mace-like tail. A well-placed stone finds the beast's eye. Valin continues to show his pinpoint accuracy with impressive consistency, even past the bulk of the beastly Noxerer. The raiders hang back, not quite ready to engage, but also reluctant to give up the high ground. That's the last place they want the Lindworm going. Annie moves on to the rise. They're nimble, they can take a hit. Rook jukes in. A strike glancing off a thick scale before he falls back. The rest of the raiders tense, watching from a safer distance. Even the injured hang nearby, ready to rush in if things truly go south. Would be nice if we could push that thing further back, clear a better line of sight. Risky, though. A hurled stone glances off the back of the Noxerer's skull, even as it clings stubbornly to the lindworm's tail, biting, clawing, gnashing. The dragon itself, however, vents its ire on Annie, her shield just barely turning aside, its furious fangs. And they step up. Her flail failing to find its mark, but the first to fully engage. And as one, the rest of the raiders rush forward, though the injured do still hang back, biding their time until they're truly needed. Another stick and move from Rook. Trip hovers closer, hobbling on his bad leg, but eager still to get some use from that curious curved dagger he acquired. Verlin stabs away, armor visibly smoldering neath the acidic spray. McLeod finally moves in, warrior whimpering and whining at his back. Nice. Oh, I'm just waiting for this to go bad. Oof. The lindworm finally turns, its wrath fully focused on these new foes. A snap of its jaw turned aside by McLeod's shield, but then a swing of its tail catching Annie upside the head. Helmet dashed, long matted hair billowing as blood seeps from their sundered scalp. Satras takes a halting step forward, but then seems to think better of it. Oh, Trip, buddy. I'd love to get a death blow, and it's just so dangerous. Rev lunges again, and the beast teeters. Badly wounded, but still a literal, colossal threat. Arrows dot its hide. Rocks rebound from its writhing form. The Noxerer, instinctively sensing an advantage, oh gosh, tears a great bloody chunk from the beast's tail with its jaws. The whole beast lurches, driving Annie heavily into the side of the rise. And the raiders press on. Before finally its head snapping about to take a great bite from Verlin. The spearman drives his weapon upward, catching it below the jaw and piercing its throat. The creature gurgles, rearing back before crashing to the grass. The rest of the raiders surging forward to hack at it in its death throes. Though the Noxerer still stands. A fact that Rev is quick to remind the rest of the raiders of. Valen assails it with stones. And McLeod moves up at its back, finally letting Warrior slip from his leash. Annie stumbles away, badly bruised, but miraculously intact, despite it all. Arrow reaches back, finally finding his quivers run dry. McLeod stumbles, the frenzied Noxerer furiously battering against his shield. Warrior latches on to the Noxerer's leg. And Tommy steps in. A colossal swing of the pole mace, catching the beast in the jaw, driving its twisted teeth through the soft palate of its upper mouth, straight into its brain. My goodness, that fight really should have gone way worse than it actually did. And yet we stand victorious, with our tincture of ember blood in hand. Feel your blood boil. Or more to the point, don't. With this tincture, the burning blood of a lindworm will flow through decidedly human veins, with a lucky subject none the wiser. Until they start bleeding, of course. Which I've got to say, really sounds like it would cause more problems than it would fix, but what do I know? I'm not an anatomist. Also a few other precious prizes. Lindworm scales, lindworm blood, and a few salvageable Noxera parts. We'll take them. Oh boy, I am so tense right now. You crouch beside a lindworm and take your hand over its skin. The way you figure, the scales are long and sharp enough to cut your fingers off if jammed in between the wedges. You then stand akimbo over the head and stare into its maw, getting a measure of its teeth with your hands and its gullet with the steel of your sword. Triphoppenskip comes to your side and asks what they're to do next. You unsheathe your sword from the lindworm's throat, wipe it clean, and sheathe it proper. You order the men to skin the beasts and ready the return to Eagle the Councilman. Yeah, let's go get paid. Then we're going to need a moment to rearrange our line. Also, we are way lower on food than I realized. And there's our new ambition. Nice. We do need arena. Hunting beasts. RNG dependent, but we also do need pelts. Trading's good too, but probably best left until after we ramp up rep with the southern city-states. Yeah, let's go beasts. Again, RNG dependent, but that one's at least open enough that we can do it anywhere. While we do specifically need hyena pelts. It would also allow for hunting pretty much anything else. Whatever we happen to stumble across. Eagle the Councilman is found outside and surrounded by raucous peasants. You yell over the crowd and display the lindworm skin which you brought. The crowd quiets for a moment, whispers amongst its numbers, then returns to shouting. You purse your lips and elbow your way into the mob and demand the pay which you are owed. Eagle the Councilman yells at the peons to spread out and let him breathe. While two guards stand close, he hands you a leather satchel. Good work, Sellsword. If it ain't all there, feel free to come back and kill me. I won't mind. Not on this damn day. As you take the satchel and leave, the peasant jabs his finger at the mayor. Telling ya, that damn bastard, my supposed neighborly neighbor, stole my birds, and if he don't return 'em, I'ma burn his whole farm to the farkin' ground. Well, good luck with that, bud. Can't say I envy you. Ambush trade routes cleared, but well supplied still in effect, so we will grab all the food, including some meat as a treat. I think the men have earned it. Sadly, no tools, but we will take those bandages. And I guess that's it. Not really much else going on here. Oh, right, we still have our level ups, so let's go ahead and knock those out real quick. Tripp's an aspiring dagger duelist. Not that it really worked out there, but that wasn't exactly an ideal situation for it. So I suppose we'll stay the course. Go ahead and grab Dagger Mastery. That plus Overwhelm, at the very least, will be a nice pair. Decent stat rolls. We'll take the maxed melee. We'll take the mid defense. And initiative. Though we do need to bump up that fatigue as well. And onto the bench with Diego tagging in. Next, Mark Giemza, who, for now at least, will follow Arrow's example, so I guess we're starting him off with Colossus. Yeah, Gunner's not quite as perk-hungry as the throwers, so I think that's fine. And stat-wise, off to a good start. We'll take the 5 in range. We'll take... Ooh. Max in melee defense. We'll take... Yes, we will take that melee defense, I think. Try to bump both defense scores up to 10 if possible. Arrow doesn't have recover. Should I fit that in? It hasn't really been an issue for him, but it was definitely an issue with Mark. You know what? Change of plan. We'll grab range, defense, and fatigue. Which brings us to McLeod. Max roll on melee, whiffed on the defense. Some decent secondaries, fatigue and initiative. Also, range defense. We'll take initiative. Then grab gifted to shore up our other numbers. That'll go into melee, melee defense, which keeps us more or less on track for that 20 at 7. And morale, or resolve rather. Push him up towards that 60 target. Berlin, level 7. We'll take the max melee, we'll take the middling defense, which puts him 2 points shy of that 20-point target. But with Shield Master, he's still doing okay. Yeah, he's still over 40, so that's decent for a shield character at least. And if he is tanking, let's bump that resolve. And finally, Tommy, who continues to follow Valin's build. Level 5, so that would be bags. That'll give us 2 more slots to play with, and I think we will go ahead and swap him off to throwing at this point, since that also bumps him over 60 in range. Max the roll on range defense, that's tempting. Also on initiative. Yeah, we'll take both. Though, as usual, that'll be the last bump we take on range defense. 10 is enough. Then bags and belts. That'll give us room for 3 stacks throwing weapons, 1 net, and a one-handed mace. Oh, though we only have the 2 stacks of jabs for now. Might need to make a run to the north at some point. See if we can grab more heavies. Yeah, that's it for levels, so let's hit the pause button real quick. I'll get our guys regrouped and re-equipped. Be right back. And we're back. Regrouped as best we can. Pretty much everyone on deck at the moment, barring our injured. Slightly awkward, a little heavier on rookies than I'd like, but I think we can make this work. Really depends on what we're up against. That said, let's go pick a few fights. And in light of our current ambition, I'm thinking what we'll do is head straight across the desert here. Essentially take the long way towards Karakin. Poke through the fog of war, see if we can maybe turn up some packs of beasts, some points of interest, or whatever else happens to catch our eye. Obviously hoping for hyenas, but happy to take whatever we can get. Diego Abalos comes to you, rubbing the back of his neck and nervously pulling on the front of his shirt. He proposes a plan wherein he goes into town with a handful of goods to peddle around, as he's done so often in the past. Only problem is that he doesn't yet have the goods. He has to buy them from some local in the nearby hinterlands. All he needs now is a bit of money to get him started and help purchase the goods. A sum of 500 crowns all in all. Naturally, as a partner, you will get a cut of the profits once it's all said and done. Yeah, sure, I don't see why not. I mean, part of the reason we hired you on was to do peddler stuff, so... You know, pedal to the metal, my friend. Nice. You hand Diego the crowns, and off he goes. A few hours later, the peddler comes running up with a small lockbox in hand. The wily grin on his face is undeniable, and he's unwittingly fist-pumping as he glides to you. When he tries to speak, gasps of breath seize him. You hold your hand out, telling him to take his time. Settling down, the man hands over a heavy purse of coins, stating that it is your cut of the profits. Before you can even say anything, the man wheels on his heels and jumps away, giddy with his success. Tidy little profit, +1 resolve. Not bad at all. Nicely done, my friend. A pleasure doing business. And we've got footprints. Ooh. Nice little manageable group of nomads. Not the most exciting prey, but something simple for our rookies to cut their teeth on. Yeah, we'll run these guys down, see if anything else catches our eye en route. Trekking across the endless desert dunes, the raiders stumble upon a hapless group of bandits. Hidden amidst some jagged rocks, the bandits spring their trap before realizing they've inadvertently bitten off more than they can chew. But too late to back out now. Though if they did want to run, this would be the time to do it. Which, of course, they did not, so now they die. Mark pops off a shot, leading the assault, cursing under his breath as it goes wide. Seeing that their sacrificial scout wasn't immediately mowed down, the rest of the bandits charge forth. Only to be left gawking as Verlin charges right past them, his own sight set on their now unattended slingers. Valin clips a bandit's scalp with a hurled axe. Drakiith rushing in right after, but unable to capitalize. The slingers, realizing their vulnerability, rush towards a nearby outcropping of stone. Diego blocks their path. And the rest of the raiders push up, keeping their foes contained. The nomads quickly try to compensate, blocking easy access to their back line. But the raiders, of course, are undeterred. An arrow whips across the field, puncturing a shieldman's shoulder. Tommy steps up, javelin in hand. A glancing blow, but still painful and bloody. with Val following up, delivering a fatal blow. A slinger strays too close, just barely dodging Rook's pike. Annie's flail whips around an interposing shield, striking a bandit's chest and crushing the man's heart. Diego leaps down from his perch, charging an unattended slinger. The man fights back, knife clipping off the edge of Diego's helmet, but thankfully unable to draw blood. Arrow starts to circle. A stone clips Tommy's helm. Drak carves a gash across a bandit's forehead, giving Tommy the opening he needs. 2 javelins sink into the man's chest, and he drops to the ground, dead. The rest of the raiders rush through. Rook impaling a slinger's arm. Before McLeod stabs him from behind. Annie flanks a swordsman. The man sent staggering as flail meets face. Diego guts the other slinger. As Verlin impales the broken-nosed bandit. The last of the hapless bandits glances around, bloody froth on his lips. An arrow flies from the sideline, piercing his cheek. Drak wrapping around, cutting off his escape. And just like that, it ends. The bandit dies on the tip of Revenant's pike. A nice, simple fight. One that doesn't offer much of a payoff, but still good experience for the Rooks. Not to be confused with King's Rook, but you know what I mean. And you know what? I think we've got time for one more. Let's push our luck a little. And there we go. Blazing Shelter. Ooh, very easy target. And yet more tracks, so right, they clearly recently spawned a patrol. Yeah, let's do it. We're here. Might as well. Following some nebulous directions salvaged from the dead bandits' pockets, the raiders soon stumble across a small shanty town set amidst the dunes. The bandits encountered there are well and truly outmatched by more than 2 to 1, but they're unwilling to surrender their goods without a fight. And so, as scant as their chance may be, they rush the raiders' line, the first among them greeted with a bolt to the shoulder. But the rest rush forward nonetheless. And swiftly meet their end. The first on Rev's pike. I mean, to their credit, the rest quickly adapt, taking a more defensive position. But really, let's be honest here, they're just delaying the inevitable. A hurled axe buries to the haft in a hapless bandit's head. 3 bandits yet remain, clustering up in as best a defensive formation as they can muster, amidst the crates and containers of their ill-gotten goods. Bowman takes aim. An arrow glancing from a broad-leafed shield. The other bandits push forward, clubs flailing ineffectually. Rev aims low, his pike puncturing a howling man's foot, pinning him in place. While the bandit swordsman circles south, going shield to shield with Verlin. McLeod lops off a bandit bludgeoner's arm before a follow-up strike drops him to the sand. Annie smashes the other bludgeoner in the face. And another axe flashes. The man gasps, then topples to the desert floor. A single bandit yet remains. Odds impossible, and yet he fights on nonetheless. He parries the first few blows, but then finally one slips through, Rassel's mace crushing his sword hand. Verlin slips in past his guard. And with one last thrust, the final foe drops. Another clean victory for the Raiders. Not to mention a bag of precious rock salt. Nice. I mean, obviously not the most exciting find, but trade goods are trade goods. We'll certainly take it. Plus a precious level for our resident trader. Let's see how we fared here. Level 3, so that's dodge. Yeah, he's definitely not going brawny. And stats. Oh, wow. This is a good day for Diego. We'll take the max melee, we'll take the max defense. And, a couple of good choices here, but I think we gotta go resolve. Very nice. I mean, look, Diego's never going to be a top-tier combatant, but he's definitely on the road to be a pretty passable tank. Which, combined with his general peddler utility, I feel like I'm pretty happy with that hire. Though we'll, of course, see how his future level-ups treat him. But otherwise, man, I've got to say, pretty good day. Though it is also a stark reminder that we are now living in more dangerous times. Lindworms are in play, and they are far from the only new threat on the table. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. We'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, and we will pick up here next time, as we continue finding our footing in a world that grows ever more dangerous around us. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.